Hi, it's Wasabi. Welcome back to the channel. This is a battle on the Cliffs map, and we've got Buddypal in his IS-7. Now, this battle was played just before the campaign, so apologies for not bringing this out earlier. Now, this heavy tank on this map, there's basically quite a few routes you can take. One is to go around the mountain on the east side, and also to battle in the middle, and also down the bottom. But we'll see how Buddypal's playing this game. Now, mediums and lights have gone down to the bottom, as well as some heavies, so see how that plays out. Just spotted the AMX 13105, but Buddy's shot missed. Now, that's one of the things with the IS-7. Pays to stop and wait for your aim to come in before you shoot. Otherwise, you might just have to shout Russia when you're firing to improve your chances of hitting. So even small amounts of movement can make the gun bloom a bit more than you might think. Anyway, he's heading to the hill there. He was spotted, so he's sort of making it look like they were heading for the to the east side of the hill. He's basically heading to the hill in that direction and then coming back here. So hopefully that will help make the enemy think that he's not going to be here. But we'll see how long it takes him to be spotted. Anyway, coming to the hill here, so they're basically looking for opportunities to shoot the tanks on the hill or the ones coming across to fight in the middle. Now he's come here, basically see if we can get a shot on the E5. Now, I'm not sure why a heavy tank like E5 is going to the top of the hill. That just seems to be a bit of a waste of a tank, but he's here to get side shots on tanks that do come and pop forward. So there's the 140, managed to get a hit in there, small amount of assisted damage. There's a mouse crossing. Is he going to get a side shot on that? No, the mouse is being very cautious actually, playing quite well. Fires to it and hits, but that ricochets. So just going to be careful here, make sure he gets dark, and just have bushes there that will help him stay unspotted, but this 140 is basically going to light him when he fires. But okay, interesting there, didn't get lit, so quite possibly he was just double bushed at that point. But managed to tag the 140 again, take him down to a reasonable amount of health. No, maybe 2 more shots will kill him. And you can see there's some tanks at the back there. There's a FE215B, that's the heavy tank, not the tank destroyer. It is the heavy tank, yep, confirmed. So you don't see those often in game. They were taken out of the tech tree, placed by the Super Conqueror, basically. So they're now basically like the reward tanks, not exactly as premium, you can swap crews in and out, but there's not too many players playing the 215B. Used to be a favourite in Clan Wars for a little while, but their role has been surpassed by the Chieftain. But anyway, just reminiscing there about the 215B and the way the clans used to use them. Now he's got the 215B's crossing, managed to tag him. And just working this area here. Now he's not being pushed on, which is good, but there is a T62A to his left, and he's got to be careful about crossfire. Hopefully the 5A that's with him will keep the T62A honest, but in fact there he gets taken in the side by the T62A, but he manages to put some damage into the 215B again. Brings him to just under 2,000 hit points of damage, so just working slowly through the game. Now it's taken almost 5 minutes at this point. Now he's managed to finish the 62A, in fact he gets taken out by the Kranwagen, who's just on the hill to the right. So again, Buddypal is waiting till it gets dark, and then comes back up here to see if he can get shots on the tanks that are either poking round or going up the side of the hill. He's got the Jagdpanzer E-100. Fires a quick snapshot, but as you saw, he didn't really fire until he started moving back, which would have spoiled his aim to some extent, and that didn't look like it connected. So again, the sort of characteristic of the IS-7, its gun is quite sensitive to movement and pays to be stationary and let your aim come in before you fire. It's not a great snapshotter, but every now and then it does pay off. Now he's noticed that after the 62A was taken out, this 60 TP came up from the base, and he's coming in with 3 other tanks to basically take him out. It takes a big hit from the 60 TP, but basically about 60 TP is now cooked because his reload time is just too slow, so he won't be reloaded anytime soon, and Buddypal puts him out of his misery. That brings Buddy up to just over 3,000 hit points. And taking up another hull down position here, again, one of the strengths of the I-7 is the turret, so if you can get these depressions in the ground and use them to your advantage, you'll be almost impenetrable. Not totally, but almost. You know, it's a nice side shot on that Jagdpanzer E-100, and just looking to see whether there's other opportunities there, but it looks like the other tanks there are behind hard cover. So just coming around here, trying to keep his hull out of sight and keep his turret face towards the enemy will give him the best opportunity to bounce shots. He hasn't bounced a lot yet, only 320, so there's only one shot that's come in that hasn't penetrated. But his team are now slightly up in terms of hit points, getting just over 1,000 hit points advantage. It's not pretty still much in the balance though, so how can he work this spot? I think one thing to the advantage of his team is the enemy are basically concentrated on one side of the map, but they're also split in terms of their resources. Can you get a shot on the E-100? Just goes to the top. Yes, just gets that in, but you can see the careful aiming there paid off. That gets rid of the Jagdpanzer E-100. The FP4005 gets taken out by the 5A, so they're starting to make inroads now, 2 tanks advantage. And he's just looking for the tanks that were at the back of the hill. In fact, there's the mouse again, but really that mouse is doing a good job of covering up his hull, which is side on, but facing his turret and at an angle too, so Buddy decides that's not worth taking a shot. You can see that he is running APCR, so that is the premium ammunition, but yeah, tier 10, I don't see any reason why anyone would object to that. The enemy artillery's been spotted, done a bit of damage so far, but he's not going to last long. In fact, he goes down to the 5A, and there's the enemy IS-7 doing basically the same thing as Buddypal. It's just exposing his turret and making himself pretty much impenetrable. So Buddy takes the time to assess the situation and tell the 277 is close to pull back, which the 277 acknowledges, which is a good indication of gameplay. And basically saying, yeah, you know, there's not really much in the way of targets there that you can penetrate without getting wiped out. So let's go and change the angles and see if we can, you know, really make a difference here. Now there are now 4 tanks in advantage, and they've made a big change in the hit points. So with those tanks that were just taken out, there's a 268 there. Get a shot in. Yes, he actually connects that one. Now that was on the move, so just making a lie of what I've just been telling you about the accuracy of the gun, but I think that was a pretty lucky hit. But now he's taking the opportunity here, while those tanks are backed off, to basically push in under the guns of the tanks on top level. They've really basically taken over this whole lower level, as well as holding the side of the hill, and they have pinned the enemy into basically one corner of the map. So in object 277 there, he can get in a position to shoot at the back of him. So just getting around, keeping his gun trained there, and just stopping, using, he's been spotted, fires, but the 277 gets taken out by the other IS-7 on the team. He's lit here, so it's again potential for crossfire where the 268 was, and oh, there's the object 140 left on. very small number of hit points, but he stayed in the game quite a while. Finally, the light tank on the hill gets taken out, and side shot on the mouse. That didn't seem to hit. There goes back to my theory of lack of accuracy on when the gun's on the move. Gets a major amount of assisted damage for the Object 268 that he spotted. Mouse puts in a big hit, but he manages to tag the IS-7 that's there. Starting to get a reasonable amount of assisted damage. He's now nearly 5,000 hit points of damage, so having a good impact on the game here. As the mouse doesn't penetrate there, so just holding here. He's just really got his turret exposed. He doesn't want to move too much further forward. That was what I think the mouse penetrated before. Now I've got a side shot on the mouse. Can he get that in? Yes, he does. In fact, he gets the kill. So the ultimate revenge on the mouse, who did some damage to him before. That takes him over 5,000 damage. He's got 1,600 of assisted damage too. Now he's found the TVP, sends him back to the garage, and there's one tank left, which is that British heavy tank, the 215B. And last seen on the east side of the map, so charging forward as an IS-7 can. It's actually reasonably fast heavy tank. Not as fast as the 277, but can get up to 50 k's going downhill, and you can see here on the flat going nearly 40 k's. So there's the 215B. Will Buddypal get another hit on him? Lines him up. Hits indeed, but doesn't penetrate. That's a bit unusual. But finally the 215B gets taken out, and that is the battle. Let's go and have a look at the results. So another ace tanker game there from Buddypal. We've seen a couple from him now. 5.5k of direct damage and 1.6 of assisted damage, which gives him 7,000 plus of combined damage, which is a fairly good result, and that's what it would have given me his mastery badge there. Managed to get some bonds and a decent amount of credits, and we'll see how that pans out in the detail. Did get 4 kills, which is the highest from his team. 1158 base experience, typical for a tier 10 mastery badge there. Kranwagen and E5 all did over 3k damage, as well as the 5A, who did nearly 5k damage, but clearly did a bit of sniping there, didn't get significant amount of experience from that. And on the enemy side, the TVP at the end had done the most. 20 shots fired, 17 of those hit and 13 penetrated. We saw the results of the aiming there. Only one shot that got bounced, but there weren't many fired at the front of his tank. And he made a small amount of loss, but that was all acceptable there. Anyway, thanks Buddypal for the playing content.